2025. If you would join me, I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, board members. Let the record reflect that we have all 5 board members attending, Ms. Whitlock and Mr. Chris attending via electronic means. So we're excited to be here. Also, very excited for the rain that's falling outside, so we need that pretty bad. But Ms. White, I'll turn it over to you and your team. Okay.
Good evening. I'm going to start off by introducing everyone.
Okay.
I'm Sheena Brown, president of the LSIC.
Yeah, can you use the microphone? Is it?
Well, it's not for, it's just for you.
Still need to speak into it though.
I can do it.
Thank you.
Okay, like I said, I am Sheena Brown with Meadow Regional LSIC. I'm the president, and I would like to introduce everyone in attendance today. I'm going to start off with Mr. Warville, Mr. Gray, Mr. Ray, Mr. Christ, who is attending by phone, Mr. Groom, Miss Whitlock, she is also by Teams, Miss White, Mr. Redden, Miss Jordan, Miss Brown, Miss Kuhn, Miss Sue Gwynn, she is our parent tonight, Dee Fleshman, Mr. Knoll, Dorothy and Fred Foster, longstanding members of our LSIC, Cece Arrett, our wonderful community member here, Barry Christ, our students, and I believe that is it. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Slockett.
Oh, that's okay.
I see you.
I just spoke it.
And other community members in attendance tonight. Welcome. And a new teacher on hand,
extra
Mr.
pen?
Bennett.
Yep. Coach has one.
All right, so tonight what I've done, I've put in your folders some data that I'll talk about, and I'll go through rather quickly because I would like for the night to focus on our students who've completed their first Empowerment Collaborative project. They'll be nervous, they'll do fine. So, but anyway, if you'll follow along in your folders, there are some things that I did want to point out because we've done a lot this year. I think we're into our 7th week of school, so we have accomplished a lot that I really realized putting this presentation together. So the first thing that you'll see in your folder is our scorecard that we submit to the Board of Education members, and just a couple highlights that I wanted to go over. For September, our focus or our priority of the month was our DOK levels, and what DOK stands for is depth of knowledge. And so what we do, we just walk into the classrooms. We did it 1 time per week for 4 weeks in September, and our goal is to have a 2.4 to 2.6 depth of knowledge. And that would be the materials that the students are working on. Our average for September was 1.56, but I feel certain that that number is going to increase because the rigor of the lessons is increasing as the school year progresses. So I feel like October is going to increase a lot. Our logic model, so we did a logic model update. Our specialist, Kenny D. Moore, myself, and Dr. Edwards met in June. And we updated our logic model for the 25-26 school year, and we have done it again in October. But what the logic model does is just sort of our map. It's our guide that teachers and administration and all staff follows to make sure that we cover everything throughout the school year that we're supposed to. So something that I wanted to show on the logic model to show our progress. So these are our goals, and I'm making it large so you can see. But here are our goals for our logic model. From September to October, I like to color code it. It's a guide for me. In September to October, anything that is yellow is in progress at this time. Anything that's in the teal color, we have already completed. So We have September to October. We're still in the progress of completing a lot of these because they carry over to October, which we're in now, that goes to February. We've already started all of those outputs that we're using. We're in the process of completing those with a couple that have already been completed now. That takes me to, if you look at the second handout in your folder, it says Game Changers. So all teachers are required to complete a self-reflection by October 1st. It's through the State Department. And so we encourage our teachers and administration and everyone to do an honest self-reflection of where you are and what are you giving to your students. Now, a guide for that is this Game Changer flowchart that you see that board members have in your folder. And so what I did with the teachers, they completed their self-reflections and we had a meeting. And with that meeting, if you go to the next sheet, it's a will versus skill graph. I had those teachers think about what they had put on their self-reflection, and then I gave them, at the top, I gave them some thinking points, and then they were supposed to plot where they were on this graph. Now, one of the main reasons that I did this is because it's no secret that getting teachers that are in the teaching profession, that go through college to become teachers, is harder in this day and age. So we are very fortunate to have people that have degrees that want to come into the school system and teach. And so we're very fortunate. I want to point out Mr. Bennett right here. He is one of those, and he has been amazing this year. He's such a blessing to us. So what I wanted to do with this was, we have these teachers that are in the classroom and they have degrees, but what do they need to offer to their students? So where did they rate themselves on this 4-quadrant graph? And then they turned it into me, and then that's going to be a guide for the administrative team to try to give them the skills that they need and give them support that they need. Okay. All right, so now the next thing that we will do is, and I appreciate Barry Chris coming, and I'm grateful to Barry Chris. He gave me a phone call last December, I believe, and was talking about this empowerment collaborative project. I didn't really know a whole lot about it, but I've learned a lot about it, and it's been awesome. The students love it. We have Mr. Noel back here who's working with our students for EC, and so I appreciate Barry coming to listen to our students, and so that is your cue. So the students come on up here. You can look on the monitor right there.
So I'm Chloe.
I'm Landon.
And we were from 6th grade. We did that EC this year. So our job, we were kind of the walkthrough team. We had to build a route. We had to put the then and now theme where to go, the success stories where to go, and we had to create sign-in sheets, create a script, and time it to see how long the tours would take. And then
And so what was your project?
and we were the walkers.
Right, but for
We were for the whole town. So we did there's carnival and then and now. So we were celebrating the centennial.
And we also have the then and now, which talks about the very first Miss Wildcat, the very first diploma, and they they put a time period of a time, and then would get information from that time period, and it came all the way up to 2024, I'm pretty sure. And it talked about the school fire in 1924, right when the school was built. They talked about the teachers of the year, and that's pretty much all that did. And then you had the success stories, which they would make questionnaires and email it to the teacher, and then the teacher would email it to people that graduated from Meadow Bridge, and then it would fill it out, send it, and then they would write stories about them, and then we'd put it on posters and then hang them on the doors, and then while the people walk through would show them all that, so it kind of all worked out like that.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so I'm Kenzie Kinder, and I did the safety and security team for the Centennial Whenever 2020. And our job was to direct the traffic and make sure everybody was safe, and recruit outside resources for parking. And then we also had to estimate the number of porta potties and restroom facilities required. We had to talk to Mr. Payton and see if we could get those restroom facilities, and he ended up covering the cost and ordering them for us. We had to assign the staffing to group locations and know where they were, so we didn't lose track of them. And we scheduled rotations through the carnival games, so that way if the kid was there we had a time set that they had to be there for like 20 minutes, and then when that 20 minutes was over, we had either their parent pick them up, and if not, then we had to bring them to their parent. So they had to fill out a sheet so we knew where their phone number was and what kid. We also had to assign team members to work the Evolve unit. Trey Yates' team, they met with Trey's family and talked about his legacy. They also talked about his 4-H, mini scholarships, and how he came from Meadow Bridge and created his own business and went college.
Did you want anything first? You want to explain what that picture was?
That's us setting up the traffic cones so we can direct the traffic into the baseball field for parking. So we had to set traffic cones up for every parking spot. And we also had to line it to where there was one on each side so the vehicle can go in between it and not go in the ditch.
Can I ask them a question? It seemed like you all really enjoyed what you were doing. How about your other classmates that were involved? Did they enjoy it as much as you guys enjoyed it?
Yes.
So it really works.
Yes.
Okay, good job.
Yeah.
Yes, the EC teams, they were business, and they took their business very seriously. So they did a great job. And they have another project planned for this school year as well. So we've had a busy year. When we're talking about academic achievement, some professional development highlights that we've already completed through August and September. We met with Deb Collin, and I actually met her when I attended the Empowerment Collaborative Conference during the summer. And so I snatched her up on the first day that our teachers returned, and she came and she shared so many strategies with our teachers because these students love the Empowerment Collaborative so much. And so our focus is, if we're doing all that with the middle school grades, then when they get to high school, we still want to have that same type of push, that same type of focus, which is project-based learning or problem-based learning. And it's where they do more of the work themselves. It's not quite as structured as the normal classroom. So Deb came and she worked with our faculty grades 5 through 12 on that shift and gave tons of strategies to use in the classroom for our high school teachers. I've had Miss Susan Kincaid, she's a specialist. She has been to the school 2 times. She's provided 2 sessions to meet with our English 11 teachers and given them lots of strategies and resources for the SAT, which is the state standardized test that our students have to take when they're juniors. We've had our administrative PLC meetings. During those meetings, we have master teachers, Title I teacher, and our specialist, Penny Moore. They lead those meetings, and they have focused on in September, the beginning of the year, benchmark data, and that data analysis to determine our focus and our intervention strategies that we're going to do. Dr. Edwards, he has met with us. He did a professional development session with the master teachers, a full day, and he helped them develop the PL Day, which is October 13th, when we don't have students, Professional Learning Day. The master teachers are going to deliver that instruction to the faculty. We also developed the school teacher playbook. Ms. Kuhn is going to show to you that last year from the Comment and Culture Survey, one thing that we needed to do, trying to bring both schools together, was work on our communication. So we developed a teacher playbook that's in Schoology, and that helps with teacher communication. Hopefully it's like a one-stop hub. Today I completed iReady classroom learning walks, and the main focus was on mathematical discourse, which is just talking about math, the students talking about the math. And so our iReady representative was here. We visited several classrooms. She had lots of nice things to say about what she saw. And then we've got teachers that are doing professional development in math cohorts, the June Harless math cohort that our county provides, and then our Inspiring Leaders participants. We do have one teacher that is in the Inspiring Leaders program. Something that I wanted to focus on and try to share is we are so fortunate to have Rocky Roberts, if any of you know him. He's retired from Nicholas County, and he is amazing. And so he and Miss Atkins, this is her classroom, they are offering a SAT prep course. And so what they do with the SAT prep course, which again is the test that's taken in the springtime for our juniors, what they do is during this course, which is a regular scheduled class, they are working with students and they are preparing them to be tutors. And then once those students have that class, then we have what is called our advisor-advisee. That's an intervention period after lunch. And so those tutors coming from the SAT prep course are tutoring their peers during the advisor-advisee the rest of the junior class. So that is a great program. I also applied for a grant to try to extend that program for after school. We're waiting to see if we were actually going to be awarded that grant or not. We have not gotten the results. During that class, they use the SAT Blue Book, which is the platform where they can take practice tests. And then so far, our English and language art students have taken a practice test, and then they've completed a question analysis and then determined the areas that they need to improve on. We also have for elementary the Save the Children program, and that's an after-school tutoring program as well. Okay, now if you'll look in your folders, I've given you just a one sheet. It's got some data. It's just like a one sheet, but I couldn't get it all to fit on the screen. So I'll just give you guys just a minute if you will look at that. And this is our 2025 summative assessment data. And then what I have on the screen right now, this is our English proficiency data. So I have grades 3 through 8. I've got the school, the district, and the state proficiency levels. So it shows that our students are doing well. There's always room for improvement, and we're always striving to improve. But our students worked hard last year, and I think they're working even harder this year. So, but if you'll notice, and Coach Reynolds will be talking about this, there is a trend, as you can see, as students move closer to middle school grades, it looks like their scores drop a little bit. And so there are some things that we've done to try to work on that. Once we got in the new building last year, for whatever reason, the bathroom was the place to be. And so we had some problems with our bathroom. So what I decided to do this year was for our middle school students, they have bathroom breaks. So they're not going to the restroom at the same time the high school kids are. So they have bathroom breaks throughout the day. And that seems like that's helped actually tremendously with some of our discipline that we have. So that's our ELA proficiency. Here's our math. And across the state, math is always struggling. But again, you can see that trend in our school as we go from 3rd grade to 8th grade, what happens to our middle school students.
Stacy, you talk about the math and statewide and so forth,
Yes, sir.
and we know it's a problem.
It
And
is.
there's bound to be some brilliant people in our state with math. Why does this dip, especially in the end of the 8th grade? It seems like there's a drop. And just not here, I mean, where I look. I guess, again, I'm not a math person. I understand basic math. But is it test? Do our classes, our curriculum align with what they're testing?
I believe that our standards do.
Okay. If it is, what's our problem?
That's a good question. And so we have met multiple times trying to determine what happens. So I felt like, it's been very eye-opening for me to become the principal of an elementary and middle school and high school. And so one thing that I talked with the elementary teachers about last year, I said, tell me what you think. What helps you the most in your classroom to get higher scores? And they all agreed that it was intervention time. So what I did this year with our middle school, 7th and 8th grade classes, now they're block classes. So the first period is their instruction that they're receiving, and then the second period of that block is intervention. And that's where they're taking the iReady data, and they're looking at that, and they're differentiating the instruction that those kids are getting. And I'm loving what I'm seeing when I go in the classrooms, because we have the being shake table, and the teachers there with groups of students very frequently. And they said, these math teachers told me, they said, it's not that I didn't want to do it before, it was just hard to find the time to do it. So I've given them that time, and we're hopeful that we're going to see big increases.
As a principal, you feel confident that the classes we have, the curriculum we have with our math is appropriate for what we're trying to accomplish? Is it, I'm not saying teach the test, but is it aligned with the test? Do we feel that we are in line with what we're teaching to what they're testing?
When you look at the standards, yes. If you look at the standards in the curriculum, now the iReady curriculum, I feel stronger about than the Big Ideas, which was the math curriculum that was adopted, and that's what the math teachers in middle school and high school are using as Big Ideas. I feel more strongly about iReady. However, through our middle school grades, they do have access to iReady. Now, they don't have the textbook of iReady, but they do have access to the program that will give intervention lessons on that. But I feel it does align.
Across the state, you have spots where math is pretty strong. Generally speaking, it's not. And it just puzzles me that we can't attack that and then do better. And I'm not saying we're not doing a good job, don't take it at all. But how we can't get our kids up to snuff where they need to be. In the state, in Fayette County, whatever. I don't know. Thank you.
Looking at you, were talking about the middle school. How about the high school?
Okay, I thought that's fine.
I was just wondering if there's a trend with the high school as they get into from middle school to high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Well, of course, we're just tested and have official data from their 11th grade year. And so this past school year, our 11th grade data was not as good as what it has been in the past. That's a struggle too with math. Now, not so much English. 2 years ago we had, I believe we had ended up with 8 Promise Scholars. And so that's good for our middle school. This year, right now, we only have today 2 Promise Scholars.
Do you think the outside variables have a tendency to come into focus when it comes to math? I mean, you hear people all the time say math's not important. You know, we're taking these math classes, but we're never going to use it. So do you think that has a tendency to play a part in why our kids, not just in West Virginia, but all across the country,
I think that's huge.
that kids are struggling with math, not because of what you're teaching or putting out there, it's the fact that they don't think it's important.
I think
And
that,
I'm not an opponent of the standardized test. I think standardized tests are a waste of time. But do you think that's taking
I do.
Okay.
And I think it is a culture, and it's a culture that I've seen here, and I have talked to parents, and we talk about grades, because I will call parents when we are seeing students that are failing, and having hundreds of students in computer. I would look at scores, and I would do a personal invitation to those parents for their children to stay for after-school tutoring, and the parents would say, I was never tutored. And I'm like, I understand that. However, if you say you were never good at math, then it's giving an out to your child to say, well, my mom was never good at math and my dad was never good at math. So instead of saying that, let's say, what can we do to improve that math score?
Right.
So I think it is part, I think culture is a big part of it.
Just real quick, I don't mean to push back at you guys, but this school does really well with math if I'm looking at this.
Right.
If you look at third grade, it's above the district and above the state. Fourth grade, above the district, above the state. Fifth grade, equal to district, just below the state. Sixth grade, just above the district, just a little bit below the state. Seventh grade is above the district, above the state. We have to be careful on that because we're actually doing well. We got to keep pushing that to the secondary because secondary has more variables because, let's be honest, you're a young adult then and you have more variables to get you in more trouble. Just say it like that.
And that's a question, Mr. Worrell.
Yeah.
We said the elementary looks good,
Well, but it
but
also
the eighth grade where it starts dropping down.
Well, no, I get you, but you got to be careful with the data because the eighth graders who are ninth graders, that's the ones I have the most concern about if I'm looking at it for interventions in this
Right.
building. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest one.
I understand
would look
that.
at. But if I look at language arts, again, I don't want people to say our poor kids in this area because honestly,
Well, they look good.
they're doing really well. So I see both sides of that argument. That's why I want to be careful on that because your questions are
Right,
good.
well, I wanted to see what the ninth graders were doing, because
That's the next
there's a trend going there, and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what that trend is.
I lead into that too. What are we
Okay.
doing at the secondary, or not the secondary? The
Middle
ninth
school.
graders, because those ninth graders
It's
are the most
secondary.
at risk right
Right,
now. If I'm
right.
looking at the data, I see the teachers nodding their head like I know what I'm talking about. But I'd be concerned where the interventions, and you guys might be able to address that. I know you're probably going to as well, but that would be my biggest, what are we doing with those 14, 15-year-old kids that they're going to have more variables thrown at them with peer pressure and on and on and on, what we can talk about.
Social media.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If that's a problem at the high school level, then how can we address it? That's what we gotta look at.
I think that's where Mr. Groom and you were going with this, right?
Right.
I, even myself, Mr. Worrell, yeah, I didn't mention the third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, all seventh, really. I just want to concern about when we start hitting secondary, what's happening.
Right, it's
That's
the
what we're
whole
talking about.
district wide, it's the whole county.
Oh, it is.
We're-
It's not we're doing a great job,
It's
yeah.
not just, it's the whole state.
Yeah, and I'd just like to make a couple comments because it's not unique to you.
No.
No,
Our eighth grade, as I look across the middle schools, and if you follow a cohort, so our eighth graders last year, they were 18, right? So as I've looked at several of our schools, following that cohort from 6th to 7th to 8th, 6th and 7th, they're doing really well, and they hit that 8th in math specifically, and they go down. Now, you were talking about math and the relevance, right?
Right.
I think that's where empowerment can be helpful because now we're showing the kids how to do why math matters, right? So you guys, when you did your projects, you probably had to figure out some math problems, right, to be able to support your projects you did. So that shows the relevance. So the more we can do that and apply the standards to the relevance to the projects, then they walk away knowing more about why we do math, right?
Because I think one of the points that was brought up at one of our earlier, either board meeting or LSIC, we talked about empowerment, the PBL, taking it to high school, to the next level, just for this reason, to bring up those math scores and our reading scores. How powerful it's been in the middle schools. We got to get that same thing happening in our high schools with our especially our ninth graders.
And the engagement goes up with our middle school
Right.
students as they're doing these projects because they're so interested in it. So, and that is going to be that is our focus. That is something that we're doing. That's why I had Deb Collin come in their first day with the
Yeah.
teachers to try to get
And
that
sometimes
shift
it's
about
just
high
that
school.
class of kids.
Here's our science proficiency that we have. And you can see even the trend, 8th graders were a little bit lower. And then, now, our juniors, for whatever reason, did struggle some last year. We didn't have a dip. We have had more success with our juniors. However, to sort of talk about when you're talking, saying the intervention for the 9th and 10th graders, in the SAP prep
That was
class,
great, man.
we also have 10th graders in this class as well. And they are tutoring. And so they're going to tutor the other students. And I am a big proponent, if you teach it, you learn it. And so if they are being taught by Mr. Roberts what to teach, and then they're going and teaching it, hopefully that's going to make them stronger. So we've got the SAT prep class with our 10th and 11th graders. And then we just have strong intervention, try to be strong intervention for our 9th graders. So this is our data for 11th grade last year. We only were 26 proficient in English and 7% math.
But
Which is lower
the
than-
math, the 7, how's that compare statewide or countywide? Is that about the,
I think that state, I believe, because I couldn't find all that, but I believe from a principal meeting, I remember state being 16%. So, but for our CTE completers, and this is something else, we are a school, and I supported my son. He is, he's in the union, he's a lineman in the union, and he does very well. And so I support CTE completers. We have, if you look, we've got 41% of our graduates are going to be CTE completers. Dual credit, 24% of our seniors will have that, and then our promise eligible today is 6%. So we've really pushed CTE
Yes.
because there's a lot of money to be made
Yes.
in this profession.
Yes.
However, my daughter, on the other hand, is completely different. She's been in college forever. She'd probably be a permanent college student if she could be. And so, she's completely different about school. She loves school. So, but we do have a lot of CTE students that come out of the school, which is a great thing.
thank you.
All right. Okay, now, maybe this talks about our middle school discipline. Mr. Reagan, you're about ready to be up. So this is last year's middle school discipline data. So between 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, it was roughly 44% of our school-wide. So Coach Brendan's going to talk about that and what we have done to try to fix that problem and see if that might help.
First thing on the SAT for juniors, the cutoff score to meet mastery is the same cutoff score as it is to be a promised scholar. So the State Department set the bar really high just for
Mastery.
Promised scholarship means you're getting your college paid for, but we're having everybody, so that's one issue. All right, so we see middle school, most of our discipline last year. Turn around on your next page, we got a middle school intervention team framework. Ms. Atkins, Mrs. Ryan, Mr. Woolridge, and Mrs. Mao trying to work on eliminating middle school behaviors. Tardies, coming prepared to class, being accountable for their grades and their classwork, and trying to make them more aware of their data and their goals on the standardized test, and just trying to teach them some respect. In today's digital world, it's like they just block somebody, and they think they can act the way they text, impact like that in person. So they're working on this with this middle school intervention team framework. Now, if you turn, you have, this is our discipline data for this year. And you'll see that we've got 86 total incidents as of the end of yesterday. And we'll see less than 5% of our students, 18 students, were approximately 70% of our discipline incidents this year. And then 2% of our students, there are 8 of them, make up almost half of our discipline incidents. And we also have the incidences by grade level, and that 8th grade class you was talking about. Last year, you can see,
They're still
as 9th graders, they're still a little rough around the edges. And you look at our 7th, 8th, 9th,
You went there for me, I saw that too. I was like, yep, they're still.
17 and 9, they're 43, so 43 out of 86. Half of our discipline is 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. Right? And we look at the 7th grade, technically, 7th graders aren't too bad. Only 6 students are making up 17 of those incidents. And we could go a little farther. But you see, most of our discipline issues right there, 7th, 8th, 9th graders. And if you look on the back, at 15 students, 22 suspensions for out of school this year. 4 students have been responsible for 11 of those suspensions. And if we look, vaping is our number 1 suspension. That's automatic possession of the vape, 3 days out. And that's harassment, bullying, profane language, and so forth. And on the Empower Collaborative, just a side note, a little funny story. One of our 6th graders gave a walk through to my sister, and she's at the vine, so she's going to take some pictures of the furniture. The little 6th grader's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, we're not allowed to have phones." You need to put that in. So they really know not to have cell phones.
Just for everybody, it wasn't her, she just, we know.
No.
Okay, we got it.
Any questions on the discipline data? I think. Good.
That was cool.
Sorry, you already did that, I'm sorry. So one of the things to improve the academics for our students, like you were talking about, is reflecting for the teachers. And so one of the things that we started implementing this year were case studies. And so we're required to do 4 during the year, 1 each 9 weeks. And we will take 2 students in our class, one kind of mid-performing and one high-performing. And we gather their work for an entire week. That includes graphic organizers, pre-test, post-test, formative assessments, everything that we're doing in the class that week. And then we have to peer review grade levels. So the elementary teachers will peer review the other case studies of other elementary teachers. So it's been very good as far as reflection for myself. I've already had to turn mine in. And you can see exactly what I'm requiring my students to do. So when you look back, you're like, oh, that was not higher level thinking. And so it's the only way we can make them push forward is if we're looking constantly at what we're doing ourselves. And so in regard to when you're talking about like iReady, it goes very well with our standards, and it does require higher level thinking at all times for the students. I can remember when I was in school, word problems scared me, and these kids have them every single day. So they're constantly given real world situations that they have to solve problems. So we are aligning our assessments with state standards and differentiation and true intervention. So like Ms. White said, in the elementary, we do have intervention time slotted into each classroom. I have 30 minutes of math intervention daily and 30 minutes of reading intervention daily as well. And then I also have Title I push-in support for 9 weeks. She's going to rotate throughout the different classes. And she comes in and works with the students that may just need a little bit more help in the classroom. And I believe Ms. White gave you an example in the folder, and it's also one of the reviews that has been completed for one of the case studies. And that occurs during PLC as well. I don't know if I said that. Any questions on the case study?
Good job.
We're doing? The next thing that I'm going to talk about is, as Ms. White said, with our climate and culture survey, one of the weaknesses that we had, or our big rock, was communication. And so we met one day over the summer as the master teachers, and we decided how we could address this issue. And so we came up with our playbook.
That's how it always works, isn't it?
Do you want me to just go into hotspot, would you? I'm just going to log into mine real quick. I can get it from there. So this is what the teachers have available to them. It's a group, and we have all the folders of the things that we need to address that people have questions for, and a lot of times it takes Ms. White's time when we could just put it here and everybody can access it. So we have teacher peer observations, and it tells us exactly what we have to do each 9 weeks. And then it has our discipline matrix that teachers can refer to, counseling resources, safety resources, our pay period schedules, just anything that the teachers may have a question about, they can go to this and have it as a resource. And then again, it also has our logic model, and then our case study information is there as well. So, and it has a schedule of like when we have to do it, and the calendars are in there for who has to complete each task. And we also have, like, she made us admin to where the master teachers can add stuff to it. So, like, we had to send out the Schoology letter, so we quickly just sent that in so that teachers would have that to send home to their students. Any questions? Okay.
So let me ask, do you see folks are using this? It's a knowledge management system, right? It's there to provide direction so you don't have to go ask someone else. Do we see folks using, and are they engaged with it?
I don't know how the high school's doing. Like with the elementary, we'll be talking like a PLC. I'm like, oh, we have this, or someone say, did you know we had this? I'm like, ooh, do we? I'm like, yeah, it was in the playbook. So people are starting to use it more, just getting it out there a little bit more, and just saying, oh, it's under this resource.
Mm-hmm. So it's just the adoption, getting the adoption level up, and showing people how to use it and make it easy to use, yes. Right? That's the key. So okay. Good.
Any other questions?
Good job.
Okay.
Let me pause real quick and check with Ms. Whitlock or Mr. Chris. Any questions or comments you guys want to make?
No, good job.
Okay.
Very well done. Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Chris?
No questions here.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
We have just a little bit.
Yeah, I was just pausing to see if they had any questions up to date. Yep, no, you're good, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our positive school culture and climate. We try real hard here to just make everything positive, not just for the staff, but also for our students. We have a sunshine committee, which we do like potluck dinners on PL days. We're actually having a baby shower for a teacher on Monday, so just different things like that, just to boost up everyone's morale. We have a safety committee and a PR committee, and our mentoring teams. Also, we have a principal advisory council, which Ms. White has just started this year, with different students, just so they can have their voice over things at the school. We really try hard to protect our instructional time and not have too many extra things taking up that precious instructional time. We have Patriot Day. We did that this year, which was wonderful. We all went out on the football field and did a whole 9/11 Remembrance Day. And we have a few pep rallies at the end of the day for the high school. We have homecoming activities, which were after school and at the end of the day. We also are planning holiday attendance activities for an incentive for holidays. We also have the Schoology Teacher Playbook, which Cecily already touched on. just because we needed more communication, so we created that. We have a parent advisory council, which that is 3 parents, 1 from the elementary, 1 from the middle, and 1 from the high school. And they meet a couple times a year at the board office, just so that the parents have a voice in things that go on in the county. We also have 1 parent resource worker. She works every day for 3.5 hours, just doing things for any teacher, office, administration, whoever needs help. She's there to help with picture day, bookmobile, parent trainings, you name it, she's there to help with that. And we have Sue Gwynn here. She has been part of our Anxious Generation book study. If you guys haven't heard of this, it is excellent. We have started this just 2 weeks ago, and she's going to tell you a little bit about it. We're meeting on Teams meetings a couple times a month. I figured that would be easier to get more parents involved, to do it over a Teams meeting. They can be at home. They don't have to come here, and we can all meet and talk like that. At 6 o'clock in the evening. Yes.
Okay.
I don't usually speak, so this has really come to heart because I do have a kindergarten granddaughter. And the author argues that the shift from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood around 2010 and 2015 caused a mental health epidemic in youth. And he has several solutions, which the school has implemented several of these. And one of them is no smartphones before high school. As a parent, we should do this. No social media before 16. Phone-free schools. Delaying access to social media platforms is crucial to prevent exposure to harmful content and comparison. More supervised play and independence. We have become parents and grandparents afraid of the world. And I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. You're afraid to let your kids go outside and play by themselves because you don't know what's out there. We live near the road. So we have implemented with our granddaughters, we've backed off. We can still see the walkers walking up and down, but we know where the girls are, but we're not right in their face. They can climb, play, gather sticks, rocks, dig, without us supervising. And that was just a little something that we started doing. Because the world is, you're scared for your kids. And so we have to come out of that and let them be kids again, because we're not letting them be kids. So, but anyway, that's part of what I've learned in the school, and I think Lainey brought it up with her daughter, that, we have to let go and let them learn more. So.
And this is just a couple of our, Kennedy Moore, our specialist, she sends out a newsletter every Monday morning to all the teachers and staff, and it just, called the Wildcat Weekly. She just has a letter to all of us, just kind of talking about what's been going on, what she's been seeing in the classrooms. She puts a calendar of everything, ball games, PLCs, everything is on that list for all of us. Great communication tool. We have the logic model here, and our DOK Blitz stats, so we know, how we're doing with that and where we need to, bump it up, which weeks we're better. She always highlights a strategy, puts that there for us to use. She always does an article of interest that relates back to the logic model. And then she puts our playbook there just to remind us, hey, it's there, go there if you need help. And then we also have our monthly principal newsletter. Ms. White has been doing. So she sends this as a text message to all of the parents, and it's just a principal update, what's going on at the school. We have a principal coffee once a month. We try to do that where we invite parents to come in, have coffee, and just talk about different issues, bullying, Schoology grades, whatever we feel like an issue is, we try to address that then. And she highlighted, what we did for 9/11 about the flag etiquette, and student council, how they did the Patriot Day ceremony. And then she put some scheduled events on there. This was last month. This one is our family and community engagement. We have, like I said, the monthly principal coffee, and we are hosting a community dinner. It's the 23rd of October, right? And that will be that evening. Families can come in and go and eat in our new cafeteria. And we are planning a trunk or treat for our students, along with a dance that the junior class is going to sponsor, and a parent training dealing with babies, since that is such a big thing right now with our students, and drug abuse. We do try to get more parents involved in LSIC, and it's great to see the ones that are here tonight. We do try to return all parent phone calls daily. I know I do our Facebook page for like the elementary side, and I try really hard to answer parents on there because I do get several messages, and I try to be prompt on that. We do participate in town homecoming activities, which is at the beginning of August. We have students go participate in that from the school, just to, bump up the community. We do a teacher tailgate. I do that with Ashley, the teacher that's in here, and then other teachers join in too. Mr. Bennett's been there with us, and other teachers just come in, at random times. But we go to all home football games, and we have a newsletter. And our LSIC has been great to donate a sweatshirt that one of our parents makes. So we draw, if they take our newsletter and talk to us and stuff, then we put their name in for a free hoodie. So we draw a name at halftime, and then that person gets to choose, a hoodie. And I try to do, I'm a Title I teacher, so I try to do parent trainings every month. We do the principal coffee, but I also try to do other ones as well. Bullying, we do ones about drug abuse, we've done Dr. Seuss night, we've done math games, just different things like that. Any questions?
Pretty active. Good job.
One question, so Cecily, you're part of the climate and culture, you're the ambassador, right? Or Steve is now, you were. But we do the hot topics monthly, and how do you make sure that folks are viewing those? And hot topics, what they are is based on obstacles within the workplace or great things we're doing. We have a video that kind of talks about that. So we want all the staff to see that. So one of our objectives is to have more viewership. So how do we make sure that they're getting to see those?
It's good. We just send it out through email.
Okay. Is there a check and balance to say, hey, make sure you see this? Who's missed it this month? I mean, okay. Something to think about, yes.
We can start putting on our PLC agenda to
Okay.
make sure that gets done.
Okay.
Tell them the next one's Miss Dooley and I. Why do we test so much? That'll be a hot topic. I'm not saying that we did a great job acting. I'm saying the Fit kids did a good job editing. Let's put it that way.
So,
This is our, I forgot this was up here, it's our teacher tailgate newsletter that we sent out at our homecoming. So, and it talked about like the attendance, the strive for the best, 9 days or less. We put that on there. We talked about the Empowerment Collaborative and how, they're doing a great job with that on that day. My book study was mentioned there. The cell phone policy, just reminded parents, don't do it, don't let your kids bring. And then lunch changes and then important dates.
I really like where you're bringing your teachers together. It's more of a family atmosphere. And then the kids see that, and parents see that. So I think that's a great thing to do, y'all doing there.
yep.
I've heard Meadow is a family-oriented school for many people.
It is.
That's important.
And we're gonna have them help with the Midland Trail Elementary when you take Instant and Divide. I think you guys are helping out with that as well, because they did such a good job with that. So that's good for them to lean on you guys a little bit.
Good job.
This is our last
The kids took up all the time.
That was good.
Good job, good
So
job.
I'll go through this pretty quickly. A lot of this has already been mentioned in other sections. But for mental health wraparound services, the challenges we have here are probably what the challenges are across the state. Transportation, no health insurance, that's come up a few times this year. Awareness of what we do offer here at the school, cultural stigma and trust in providers, parental involvement and follow through, statewide lack of trained mental health professionals, that's really a big one. Lack of school staff understanding, awareness. I try my best to put things out there for school staff, kind of keep them updated, give them some behavioral strategies, strategies for anxiety, since that's a really big thing now. And then just the sheer overall volume of student behavioral health patients. So how do we address those challenges? We have me and the school counselor, and we also have Carrie Gerald. She's with Meadow Medical Center. She services students who are referred to her for longer care therapy. And then this year we have a social work intern that will be here once or twice a week to help me with attendance and attendance barriers and to do home visits.
If I could interject just very quickly, and Mr. Ray, I don't know if you had something to do with this, but if you did, thank you very much. Where we had construction, we did not have our provider for Meadow Medical Center to take care of like colds, fevers, things like that, getting antibiotics. So they actually moved into our small conference room, and they're going to open up, and we're going to have access to that 4 days a week.
Excellent.
So I think that's going to help with our attendance.
That is great.
That before, so that's wonderful, and we discussed it last year. So
Yeah, we needed that, so.
That's great.
School-wide, we offer statewide services that are free. We usually lean on those services, wraparound, CSET, referral lines for suicide. We have outside presenters come in. We really work a lot with Meadow Medical Center and the Fate Prevention Coalition and FMRS. And for October, we're going to focus on bullying prevention. We have the Alveus bullying program we're going to utilize again. This will be our 3rd year that we have that. Ms. White and I have been working on the Wildcat, what we call Wildcat Crowd Bullying Prevention Series, which is going to start next week. We're going to focus on middle school first, and what that will entail is myself bullying our female students, and then the teacher helping me with the male students, and just kind of going over what bullying is, how to get an upstander, what you should do if bullying is happening, and how to just kind of get along with your peers. And then in addition to that, we're going to do, I'll do small group and classroom development and guidance lessons, still focusing on bullying, mean moments, rumors. That is, I feel like a really big topic that we face in society, because not only students, they don't completely understand what bullying is, parents don't as well. It's really important that we educate them on that. So this year will be the first year that we're going to do this on October 22nd. It's going to be Unity Day, which is a focus on, anti-bullying, being kind, those sort of things. So our students are going to wear orange. So they're all going to wear orange to promote that. Additional character education, developmental guidance lessons in the classrooms, focusing on making good choices, empathy. A lot of students don't know what empathy means. So I feel like that's kind of like the stepping stone for being kind and doing that bullying prevention. Respect, friendship, conflict resolution. I've done a lot of conflict resolution this year with our middle schoolers, 7th and 8th grade girls particularly. One minute they're friends, the next minute they're not. So they really don't know how to talk to each other, and they believe the rumors and what else they're hearing. So I'm teaching them how to talk to one another, not necessarily confront and cause conflict, but how to talk to one another and redevelop that friendship. If they're not friends with the one group one day and Sacred Group the next. Red Ribbon Week, our Title I teacher usually spearheads that, and I'll be in the classrooms on the elementary side doing lessons on saying no to drugs and making healthy choices. And then, I think this was mentioned already, the vaping cessation programs that we've offered. And plus the parent training that's coming up that we're going to have with vaping, I think in plain sight or something along those lines that teaches parents what to look for. This year, this is new, I'm going to implement a Signs of Suicide program, which we got that through, I think it was through Marshall for free. So we're going to implement that this year. We're also going to continue our Girls Supporting Girls and Growing Respectable Men clubs. It's where our older high school students work with our younger grades, middle school, 5th grade, to sort of mentor them. Individual student counseling, I've been doing a lot of that, just kind of pulling those 7th and 8th grade students in and talking to them individually before I go into conflict resolution and mediation. Sometimes it's uncomfortable and the students don't necessarily want to do it, but I certainly try because I want them to get along, learn how to get along with people. And social media comes around into play, they just don't know how to communicate very well. Implementation of behavior support and behavioral intervention plans, that has come from the state, and we have our own county policy for dealing with those problematic behaviors in the classroom, those repetitive, disruptive behaviors. So I've done a couple of these so far, and I'm hoping that they're really helpful and that we can lessen some of the burden on the teachers. And last, I have parental knowledge and involvement. How do we get our parents involved in what we do here at Meadow Bridge for mental health? And one of the biggest things is LSIC participation. Monthly newsletters, parent handouts I just sent home for elementary, the high school, middle school, or I'm going to send that out as well. Parent handout was like a bullying flow chart. I think we showed it last year at one of our LSIC meetings, so we're going to use that again. I also sent out the QR code for the counseling referral. That comes straight to me, and then I kind of divvy it up, like if it's an issue for admin, then I pass it off, or I work with the student themselves, and if I feel, or Ms. White feels that the student needs more than what I can give them in a day, then that's when we refer out to Brigham Medical Center would be our first choice. Coffee with the principal, last month, was it last month? September. We focused on bullying and the anxious generation, but we talked a lot about that. I'm working on the Counselor's Corner on our school website, so that's going to have a lot of information for both parents and students, not only for mental health, but for like scholarships and everything that our upperclassmen can utilize. And then parentguidance.org, I'm promoting that as much as I can. Talk to parents about it, put it out on social media. It's a really great resource for parents if they don't want to talk to somebody. They have these guided lessons that they can go through on their own time. And then the book study. I think the book study is a really great addition. We're learning a lot in the book study with how anxiety is affecting our students. So that's really all I have for that.
So that concludes our presentation.
Okay, let me open it up to board members if you have any comments or questions. Although we kind of hit you with them as we went through.
But again, your staff and your SIC did a great job, and are doing a good job. And I know we're going to see a lot of good things come out of this. And then the building looks beautiful, inside out.
Yep.
And I'm going to say your staff has done a great job. It takes good people to make good things happen. So we appreciate you and what your team is doing.
I too think you and your staff should be commended for the great job you all are doing. Some of the data is fantastic. You guys are doing a great job. Just keep going, and I am very proud of each and every one of you. Good job.
All right, thank you. Ms. Whitlock or Mr. Christ, any comments or questions?
It's great to see kids, students come out and speak highly of their school and of their teachers. I think that is a positive from any of our LSIC meetings, and I appreciate the student support that they show the school.
All right, thank you, Ms. Whitlock. Mr. Christ?
No questions, other than to say I was really pleased to hear the different ideas about getting the community engagement. I think community engagement is such a key thing for us as far as student achievement and our student success is concerned. Because if our parents and our community don't know what our goals are, then it makes it really, really hard. I think as a community and as a village, we can move the thing forward. So I was really pleased to hear that, and I really appreciate you. Thank you, Meadowbridge.
Thank you, Mr. Christ.
I only have one question, Ms. White. Your assistant principal over there snuck in a couple of trophies. What's going on with the trophies? I want to talk about some trophies. What's going on?
Dr. Riddle and the band went to Bluefield this past Saturday, and they placed second overall in 2 categories.
All right.
All kids were excellent.
They were. I attended, they were second at Shady Spring, came in first. They were second amongst 9 schools, and they were single, double, triple A. And then quad A schools were not in that division, but they were second out of those 9 schools out of those 3.
Well, I saw them sneak them in sheepishly, and I thought, we got to talk about the trophies. So thank you for doing that.
Yep.
They represented well.
Excellent. Ms. White, thank you. Thank you to all at LSIC. Great job. Great
You
job.
guys gonna do a celebration for the band?
Pardon me?
Celebration for the band? It's coming? All right. Good job.
Yes, ma'am.
On the band, they went to Winfield the week before, and there were 27 bands, and they, same type of thing, they had, they came in 6th place out of 27. and they
That's
were
good,
rated
too.
with, like double A and triple A mixed in with some of them. And they're going, for those who want to go, on the 25th of this month, they're going to Beckley to be another competition. And this in the evenings, I think like every comes on like 8 o'clock or something.
Okay.
Maybe you want interested in
Good.
your available with him.
All right. Is that at Woodrow Wilson?
Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
sister.
All right. Excellent. How do they like their new band room? And it is. Yeah. Okay. Very
It's a
good.
little bit better than the storage room.
Just a little. So,
And the,
yeah. So.
middle school football locker.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, we very much appreciated the readouts and the information sharing from everyone, the entire LSIC committee. We've got a few other items to wrap up here, and then we'll close the meeting up. So we do have one item under finance this evening. We have our accounts payable, a short month, or a short list of bills this time, $478,000. Do I have a motion to accept
So
those?
moved.
Thank you, Coach Ray.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Groom. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay. We also have a couple personnel items in the 5,000 series. Do I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Groom. And a second, Mr. Christ. Any questions or comments on those? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Future meetings, we'll be back at the board office on the 14th for a regular meeting, 6 p.m. Then on the 28th, we'll meet at 5 o'clock at the Fed Institute of Technology for a regular meeting, and followed by an LSIC for FIT at 6 p.m. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Coach Ray. Thank you, Mr. Groom. All in favor, signify by aye.
Again, good job, guys.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Especially those kids.